Do you really think you're going? My father asked. It's my baby shower, I replied. No, we voted. Now it's a family reunion, and you're not invited. So, I sent my gift directly to the restaurant. And during the pink fireworks, he appeared. Do you really think you're going? My father asked without even looking up from his coffee. I stood frozen in the hallway, one hand on my belly and the other clutching the invitation I had printed the night before. It's my baby shower, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. I organized it. I booked the restaurant. I paid for the cake. He shrugged. Yeah, well, things changed. We made it a family reunion. Now it's a whole family gathering. I blinked. A what? A reunion. He repeated. We all agreed. It makes more sense. I looked at my mother, who was folding napkins as if this conversation wasn't happening just a few feet away. She didn't meet my eyes. Who's everyone? I asked. He took a sip of coffee. Your mother, Alvaro, Aunt Carmen, everyone actually. And I wasn't invited to that gathering. You were busy being moody, he said with a mocking smile. Pregnancy things, right? It was in that moment I realized they hadn't just changed the event. They were kicking me out of my own celebration. So, you're telling me I'm not invited? He set the cup down on the table. Exactly, you're not. It's family only. We didn't want drama. I clenched my jaw. Because I'm the drama? Darling. My mother finally chimed in, her voice smooth as poison in tea. Perhaps it's for the best. Less pressure for you. Less pressure. I had spent weeks organizing this. I ordered a pink cake with little gold booties on top. I booked a restaurant they liked, not me. I sent invitations to everyone because, against my better judgment, I wanted it to be a family thing. And now I wasn't even invited. Fine, I said, my voice cold and low. I'll send the gift ahead. You know, the one with my daughter's name on it. Do that, my father muttered, already on his phone. Just don't show up. It's not about you anymore. I nodded slowly. Understood. Then I turned, walked out the door, and promised myself one thing. They could have their little gathering, but I wasn't going to disappear like they expected. Not this time. The first time my family made me feel dispensable, I was 16. It was Christmas morning. Alvaro got a new iPhone, and I got a scarf my mother found in the clearance section. I remember holding it in my hands, still in its plastic store bag, thinking, surely they forgot to wrap mine. That's how invisible I was. But I told myself it didn't matter, that I wasn't a child anymore. Turns out I was wrong. It always mattered. My whole life I was the one who didn't complain, the one who cleaned up after everyone, the one who offered help, the one left without asking for anything in return. And especially when Alvaro messed up, like that time he got his girlfriend pregnant at 19 and disappeared for 2 weeks. Guess who paid for the prenatal checkups? Me. Or when he dropped out of college mid-semester after my parents had already paid the tuition, and they blamed the school for not supporting him emotionally. And again it was me they called, crying. Your brother is having a hard time, darling. Can you lend us some money? Just until we figure things out. That just until turned into 3 years. I paid their mortgage one winter when my father forgot to budget for heating. I bought groceries more times than I can count. When Alvaro lost his warehouse job because he didn't like how the manager spoke to him, who paid his phone bill so he could keep looking for work? Exactly. And I did it every single damn time. Not because I had money to spare, but because I believed if I kept showing up, someday they'd see me. They'd value me. Spoiler, they didn't. When I announced I was pregnant, my mother didn't even say congratulations. She stared at the ultrasound and remarked, I suppose this means you won't be coming to family dinners much anymore. And my father mumbled, Are you sure this is a good idea? Alvaro, for his part, sent me a gif of a crying baby and wrote, Better you than me. But when his girlfriend got pregnant with their 3rd child, everyone threw them a surprise baby shower with balloons, gifts, and a garden buffet. When I asked about mine, my mother said, Oh, darling, there's just too much going on this month. So I planned it myself. I saved, booked the restaurant, ordered the cake, sent invitations, bought pink candles, napkins, and the same blush-colored centerpieces my mother once used at a cousin's wedding. And still they wouldn't let me attend. They turned it into a family reunion because, according to them, I had made it all about me. As if a baby shower wasn't precisely for that. But the rail bomb dropped 3 days after they told me I wasn't invited. Alvaro called. His voice was relaxed, as if nothing had happened. Hey, do you think you could bring those baby gifts you promised? Natalia was really looking forward to that diaper bag from your list. I laughed out loud. You want me to send a gift to a party I'm banned from attending? It's not your baby shower anymore, he said. It's for the whole family now. Everyone is bringing something. I almost dropped the phone. I'm not part of that everyone anymore, remember? There was a pause. Then he said, Look, it's nothing personal. It's just that lately you've been a bit distant. You don't come around. You act like you're better than us. I held back the scream rising in my throat. I act like I'm better. I said slowly. I've given this family everything: money, time, patience. And all I wanted was one single day to celebrate my daughter. And you couldn't even give me that. Alvaro sighed like I was exhausting him. You always make everything about you. That's why no one wants you around. Click. I sat on the sofa shaking. Not from sadness. From rage. For the next 24 hours I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just made a list. Literally, a list of everything I had given this family. Money I lent, events I paid for, gifts, rent, bills, hours of babysitting. Over 11,000 euros in the last 5 years. And not once did they thank me. Not once did they offer to help me. Not when I broke my ankle and needed rides to physiotherapy. Not when I had to move out of my apartment overnight due to a gas leak. Not when my car broke down on the way to work and I lost 2 weeks of pay. But the worst part, they still expected me to send gifts, to shut up, to be the bigger person. Because if I ever stood up for myself, I was looking for trouble. I was supposed to smile while they disrespected me, pretend it didn't hurt to be the team player benched on the sidelines. And then I knew. Something had to change. And it would all start at that supposed family reunion. I kept the gift I'd bought for the original baby shower, a handmade memory album tied with a pink satin ribbon. It included a letter. Then I arranged for its delivery directly to the restaurant, timed perfectly for the celebration. I didn't sign the letter, but I made sure they knew it was from me. And that was only part one of my plan. Because I knew something they didn't. The venue, the one I booked, had a surprise included. Pink fireworks. They were meant for the end of my baby shower. As a special reveal moment. I never canceled them. So, when the sky filled with pink sparks, they were going to remember exactly whose name that reservation was under. From the outside, the evening looked perfect. Round tables covered in blush tablecloths, glittery heart confetti scattered on each centerpiece. Guests laughing, toasting with their glasses. People hugging, posing for selfies under a sign that read, Welcome baby Luna. They didn't know the baby's mother wasn't there. They didn't know they had uninvited her. I was at home, 7 months pregnant, in an oversized sweatshirt, sitting on the sofa with swollen feet and a fire in my chest, watching my phone, waiting for the moment. And it came. During the toasts, Alvaro stood up with his fake charm and that good boy energy, holding a glass of champagne. I just want to thank everyone for coming to this special family reunion. It's so important to see us all together again. Especially at such an exciting time for our family. There were murmurs of agreement, clinking glasses. And then, just as they were serving dessert, a waitress approached the main table with a soft pink gift box in her hands. This just arrived, she said politely. It has your family name on it. My mother tensed, reached out hesitantly, and opened the lid. Inside, a delicate handmade baby memory album, tied with a pink satin ribbon, a folded letter, and a small card with a shiny QR code. Is it from her? Aunt Lucia asked, leaning in to look. My mother didn't answer. She just stared at the contents, her hand trembling slightly. Alvaro cleared his throat. I think she just wanted to send something. Since she wasn't feeling well enough to come today. The hostess, oblivious to the attention at the table, approached with a microphone and smiled. What a lovely surprise. It looks like we have a special message. Let's watch it together. She gestured to the tech crew. The lights dimmed slightly. A soft chime sounded. And then the screen behind Alvaro lit up. The audience went silent. The video. There I was sitting in a sunlit room, calm, direct, alone. Hello everyone, I began. I just wanted to thank you for attending the baby shower. I wasn't allowed to attend. Murmurs. A ripple of confusion. Faces turning. If you're confused, ask my father. He voted to exclude me. Ask my brother Alvaro, who told me I'm not part of the family anymore. People started whispering. One woman even let out a small gasp. You're sitting in the venue I booked, eating the cake I ordered, looking at the fireworks I paid for. Aunt Lucia whipped her head towards my mother. My mother stared at the floor. So enjoy it, I said, my voice still calm. Because this will be the last time I pay for my own exclusion. Then the screen changed to an image of Luna's ultrasound. Below it a note appeared. Luna Rosa. Expected May 28th. Her mother fought for her before she was even born. The video's final sentence. Next time, I'll be where I'm wanted. And then it ended. Dead silence. A moment later, white letters appeared on the screen. Look behind you. The guests turned in their seats. And then outside, through the restaurant windows, the sky exploded in light. Pink fireworks. One after another, soft explosions of pink and blush filled the night. One final heart-shaped burst shimmered above the trees, then faded. No one said a word. They got it. She had planned it all. Alvaro slammed his glass on the table. Are you serious? She did this? Now. My father stood slowly, pale. Who authorized that video to be played? The hostess blinked. There was a QR code on the gift box. We thought it was part of the toast. Guests shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Someone muttered. Wait, she paid for all of this? My mother stood shakily, her eyes darting around the room. It was just a misunderstanding. But before she could continue, a firm voice cut across the room. I believe we have a bigger problem, said the owner of La Terraza del Sol, approaching confidently in a sharp gray suit. He carried a clipboard. Poised precise. This event was partially prepaid by the woman whose video you just watched. The rest was due today. Alvaro let out a disbelieving chuckle. Well, since she's not here, I guess it's on the house, right? The owner raised an eyebrow. It will not be paid by those who excluded her from her own event. Some guests tried to leave, but the hostess stepped forward. Sir, ma'am, please wait. The owner continued. On principle and to be honest, out of disgust, I will be refunding every euro she paid. And you, he looked directly at my father and Alvaro, are responsible for the full amount. He handed them a folded bill. 6,720 euros. No discount.
No επάλεγεις.
Alvaro's jaw dropped. We don't have that kind of money. My mother panicked. We thought she was going to pay. She organized it. The owner's voice sharpened. You used her, then shut her out. I've seen it before. Families convinced that kindness is a currency they can steal. But this time you're going to pay the price. And he added, this video was also recorded by our event cameras, for clarity. If payment is not made, you will be hearing from my lawyer. One by one the guests began to leave, silent, ashamed, subdued. Some whispered, I had no idea she wasn't invited. Others passed my family without a word. Alvaro stood frozen, the bill in his hand. My father wouldn't meet anyone's eye. My mother finally sat down, her face as white as paper. In the end they were left with a cake no one wanted, a debt they couldn't pay, and a truth they could no longer hide. And I closed my laptop, let the silence settle, and smiled. My daughter kicked softly in my belly. This was for us, I whispered. I didn't expect peace, not immediately. But I also didn't expect this. The next morning my inbox was flooded. Missed calls, voicemails, desperate texts. All from my family. All on the verge of collapse. Alvaro, are you proud of yourself? You humiliated us in front of everyone. They made us pay the whole bill. Dad furious. Mom cried all night. Mom, darling, I think we need to talk. You went too far. I know we made mistakes, but that was cruel. My father, nothing. Just a picture of the 6,720 euro bill with a message. Hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. Because I knew it wasn't what they had done that hurt them. It was that they had been caught. But here's the twist. They didn't pay the bill that night. They couldn't. Alvaro's credit card was declined. My father tried calling his golf buddy, the one who owns a car dealership, Torres Auto, but he didn't answer. My mother begged the manager to give them a few days. The owner didn't. He gave them 24 hours. Or the video, my speech, their reaction. The mass exodus of guests would be posted on the restaurant's official social media as a statement of principle. We do not support events that exclude pregnant women from their own celebrations. My brother panicked. My father threatened to sue. The owner smiled and replied, "Please do. I would love to show the judge the recordings." So they turned to the one person they thought could help. Alvaro called his ex, Natalia, the mother of his 2 children. The woman he left 6 months ago because she needed too much. The same woman I'd been secretly helping with money when he was unemployed. And here's where the twist came in like a freight train. Natalia paid the bill. In full. With money I had given her years ago for school supplies, rent, food. Money she had been secretly saving all that time, in case Alvaro ever came crawling back. She walked into La Terraza del Sol the following day, paid, got the receipt, and then in front of the owner said, "Please make a note. This payment settles the debt for the event, but it does not clear their behavior. And if Alvaro ever insinuates I owe him anything, I will personally release the photos of him crying in his car that night." And walked out. Then she texted me, "I paid the bill because they humiliated you, not because they deserve it. I support you. I always did." That broke me, but in the best way. Meanwhile, in Chaos Land, my parents were reeling. They had to cancel their spring vacation to rebuild trust with the community. Translation: people started distancing themselves. Aunt Lucia disappeared. Neighbors suddenly very busy. Even the priest from our old parish, San Miguel, sent them a passive-aggressive email about acts of exclusion. Alvaro? He got fired. Why? Turns out one of his co-workers was at the restaurant that night. Saw everything. Recorded the video from the screen. Shared it on a company-wide internal chat with the message, "This guy says he's a family man." Alvaro was let go the following Monday. And who did he blame? Me, of course. Called me a traitor, a backstabber. Told everyone I set him up. But the truth? He set himself up the day he voted to kick me out of my own baby shower. And I slept. Like really slept. No knots in my stomach. Number 3 a.m. guilt attacks. No nervous breakdowns from incoming calls. I went for walks. Read books on respectful parenting. Bought tiny socks for Luna and cried holding them. And for the first time I didn't feel alone. Because now when people contacted me, they didn't say, "Go fix things with your family." They said, "Thank you for having the courage." One woman, a cousin I barely knew, texted, "Because of you, I left the toxic family chat today. And by the way, those fireworks. Iconic." The final twist? A week later, I got a call from the restaurant owner. He wanted to invite me back to the venue. When I arrived, there was a small private table by the window. Tea, cake, a small vase with a card that read, "To the mother who reminded everyone what dignity looks like. The meal is on us. Congratulations." I smiled, took a sip of the tea, and whispered to myself, this was the only celebration I needed. People always ask me why my family had so many problems. They had a house, jobs, decent cars. So why were they always borrowing, begging, behind on bills? Let me tell you. They weren't broke. They were reckless, selfish, addicted. Not to drugs or alcohol, but to living beyond their means and making others pay the consequences. My father had 4 credit cards all maxed out. Not out of necessity, out of status. A new barbecue every summer. Watches he never wore. Golf memberships he never used. He bought a second flat-screen TV for the garage because Alvaro had 2 streaming subscriptions for his dog, because it calms him down when I'm not home. I'm not kidding. My mother, the Home Shopping Network's favorite customer. You know those decorative ceramic angels people put on their mantelpiece? She had 48. When I was a kid, I thought they were magical. Turns out they were just expensive, non-refundable lies. And the real reason they always needed me? Because they never planned. "Miss car insurance payment? Can you cover it this month? Alvaro in the red again? Your brother's having a hard time. My mother forgot to turn off the lights for the 3rd time in a year? We just need you to help us this one time." It was always just this one time. Until it wasn't. After the restaurant debacle, I discovered something that turned my stomach. I was at my OBGYN appointment, giving the receptionist my new insurance card, when the system flagged a duplicate entry. Apparently, I had a secondary policy on file, one I'd never applied for. Guess who opened it? My mother. 3 years prior. Used my social security number, forged my signature, and added herself as a beneficiary. She'd been receiving dental treatments and prescription discounts in my name. I stood there in the clinic reception, holding my belly trembling. And suddenly everything clicked. The constant need. The endless guilt trips. The way they reacted when I said no like I'd robbed them of something. They weren't just entitled. They were used to taking. But here's the part that surprised me. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I smiled. Because for the first time in my life, the truth sounded louder than their lies. I filed a fraud report. Froze my credit. Had everything cleared from my record. And when the investigator asked if I wanted to press charges, I said, I don't want them to know that I could. And that next time I will. 2 weeks later, Alvaro showed up at my door again. This time with plastic flowers. Just thought maybe we could start over, he said, scratching his neck. You know, go back to being a family. I stared at him. No. He blinked. Just no. No explanations.
No speeches.
Just no. He left the flowers on the ground. I didn't pick them up. Later that night, I had dinner with Natalia. She told me something that almost made me spit out my tea. I wasn't the first girl he got pregnant, she said.
Is der her, Domfundel.
What? In high school. His ex. She didn't keep it, but he never told your parents. Said it would ruin his golden boy image. I leaned back stunned. And how do you know this? He told me. During one of his emotional breakdowns. He said, at least my sister's still more naive than I am. She always covers for me.
No, Irraplia.
I didn't need to. Because that version of me, the one who always paid for everything, no longer existed. My baby's room is quiet now. Peaceful. Sunlight streams in during the morning and bathes the crib. And for a second I almost forget what it felt like to be erased. And then I remember how they called me selfish. How they laughed at me behind my back. How they devoured my generosity like it was something I owed them, and turned their backs the second I asked for something in return. And how now they're alone. I don't know what became of the ceramic angels on the mantelpiece, and I don't care. But I know this. They weren't victims of hard times. They were architects of bad decisions, burying their shame under fake birthdays and elegant centerpieces. And when the curtain fell and the spotlight landed on the empty chair where I should have been sitting, they realized, too late, the woman they erased was the only one keeping the lights on. And now the lights are off. And I'm sleeping wonderfully.